Hello and welcome to the Video Game Dads podcast, where three guys in a basement talk gaming, fatherhood, and everything in between. We are a tri-weekly amateur, family-friendly podcast, but we don't make any promises that there won't be some adult content. But we won't be cussing up a storm. That's about it. So we are your hosts. I am Ben.
I'm Shane.
Oh, yeah. And Adam and Michael could not make it, unfortunately. Both of them had some stuff going on, work commitments, things they, life happens, as we say.
Stuff,
But here we are. We're doing it.
Family
like we said, we're
first.
sticking on our schedule. So where can you find us on the old Facebook,
You
Shane?
can find us at facebook.com/videogamedads.
Yeah, and you can email us videogamedads@yahoo.com.
Yahoo!
Yeah, and Twitter, Instagram, mostly non-existent. But it's either that or like put out the podcast or like remember some things, forget some things. We have some stories about that. Being a dad, playing some video games every once in a great while.
Yep.
We don't have a whole lot of time for all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And then you start forgetting, your brain, even though and then they say like, oh, you only use like 8% of your brain.
Yeah.
Right. And they made that Limitless movie that talked about like I'll just take like 1/100th of that.
Yeah.
I'll be okay with that.
For sure.
Because the stuff I forget, I tell you, I was bringing up last time I got pulled over.
Oh, yeah.
Did I talk about that last time?
No, you didn't.
We'll talk about that among so many other things. Too many baby bottles. Before. No, it's not that dramatic. Not that dramatic. But even still, with the two of us here, we have 4 kids between us at this point. So
yeah.
Let's see things we're going to talk about this episode. Our video game book club, of course. We will just asterisk. We will only do our listener pick.
Yep.
We'll save because Adam picked 13 for the PS2, so we'll roll that over. So we'll do a 1-game video game book club pick. Also, we're going to talk about our emails, iTunes reviews, PlayStation State of Play. What is it? Also, there's maybe some new Switches coming out.
Yeah.
So worth mentioning
Some
that.
rumblings of the new Switch.
Yeah, and the Analogue SG, right?
Yep.
I was going to NT. What is that? What? We'll figure that out. We'll talk about that a little bit. And a new announcement of another mini console.
Oh,
official mini console. And of course, what we're playing. Upcoming cons are handheld holla, and whatever else covers the in between. We're happy you guys are here. Shane or what? Who are you?
Who
are you? So we do this. We do this in person, even though it's harder for us to do. It just feels better. You were talking about that earlier.
Yeah, it's
Shane.
hard to listen to some podcasts, and I can only imagine trying to do a podcast and not being able to see you when you're gonna take a break from talking or anything like that.
And it's also the whole to be honest, you're not going to be as available. You'll be like, oh crap, guys, I got to leave for a minute.
Yeah,
and the internet goes out.
There would always be something that popped up. There'd be a kid screaming, I got to go, or something's going on.
So,
dogs barking.
Yeah, so we're in the same basement. We are not lying about being in the basement, even though there's only 2 of us. Yeah,
next to the boxes. No, we're next to video games.
Yeah,
lots of arcades.
Surrounded by the arcades.
Good stuff.
Yeah. So what else? Oh yeah, on our YouTube you can check out our video game book club picks that we do in our little fun analog randomizer, also called a bingo ball cage, that we roll around and pick our games. Yep. Oh, and we didn't do that before the episode. We're gonna have to do that in between segments to pick out our new game.
Don't share secrets.
Yeah, I know.
We did it before, guys.
Can't do any of that. But anyway, guys. So anyway, let's get on with it, Shane, shall we?
Let's do it.
Yeah.
Let's do it.
Let's go move into our video game book club.
Hey, Squirt. Lego my ego.
Getting an Eggo would be so much easier if I were big. I mean big!
Hey, Squirt. Lego my...
A little in each square, please. I get syrup on it just the way I like it. Every piece would be perfectly cut on the lines.
This okay, sir?
Each bite will be exceptionally delicious. Yeah, that would be nice.
Eggo waffles, part of a good breakfast.
Hey, Squirt.
All right, our video game book club. This episode is brought to you by Kellogg's Eggo waffles. We had Post not too long ago, but yeah, that's a great one. Being so small, you want your, and there's something to be said. I could go for Eggo waffle every once in a while.
I love Eggos.
Yeah.
We're an Eggo family.
Oh,
Then we get the generic ones every once in a while from like Aldi.
Not
the
good.
same.
No,
it gets too like crunchy.
Yeah.
Like It's just not right.
Yeah, and they're not like real waffle. Like if you have a real Belgian waffle, that stuff's legit. And
Yeah.
put some like whippy stuff on it. And
We do whipped
some
cream.
fruit.
I have to do it a certain way. Like I have to do whipped cream and then put the syrup on top of it.
Wow, yeah.
Because then it melts it down.
Yeah.
It's perfect.
Yeah.
Don't
say-
do butter though. I don't have to do butter.
Oh,
There's
okay.
enough crap on
so
there.
your
already.
gallbladder is at least somewhat
Yeah, a little bit.
the sugar in the is. I actually make waffles for my kiddo. That's like my thing to
really?
do. Is ever since he's been able to like eat and hold in a hand. So this is about like going on like a good year and a half almost. I make him waffles and I do it in bulk. I don't know if I've talked about this before, but I bought like a small little. There's this like small waffle maker iron, waffle iron that's real cute and tiny. Like makes a 4-inch waffle, and I made him those because they're small. And then I thought, well, that's idiotic because you can only make them one at a time.
Yeah.
So I went on, and I think it's Hamilton Bay. I got a 4 area waffle iron, and I make them waffles and then
4 at a
freeze them.
time, huh?
4 at a time.
Dang.
Yeah. And I make a big old thing of batter, and I put a little bit of protein powder, like vanilla ice cream protein powder, and then sometimes I'll put some what is it? Blueberries in there too.
Yeah, nice.
Yeah, and so I make probably 40 at a time. So then I'm good for like a month.
Yeah.
Of him, and then every once in a while, where he freaks out at dinner, we could like throw it out if he asks for the
Yeah.
waffle. But he loves them, and I'm getting better at making them. And
So you
I'll-
just throw them in the freezer, put them in a baggie, and then throw them in the freezer. Then
yeah, I put them in the big like quart size ones so you can stack them.
Yep.
And so I put them all in the freezer, and you take them out and take one out, put it in the microwave
Nice.
for 30 seconds every morning. I do that when I come down, then put it on the thing if I got to leave before he's up, and I just that way it's ready.
Nice.
So he gets his yogurt and his waffle every morning.
You ever hit it
and-
with the fruit on the side or anything like that, or anything?
I did like we'll do more like portion different stuff at dinner. Like we separate it, and those plates that like have separate areas are awesome
Yeah.
for kids. It really helps them, like especially if you have a kid that like looks at a plate and you're like, oh, they don't want to touch it. For some reason, the psychology of kids is if you get those plates that have like 3 or 4 different areas and you put a different colored thing in each thing, it like helps them eat
nice.
a whole lot better. And I've noticed that with Sebastian. We started doing that, and he's like better at eating dinner now. But yeah, breakfast usually just like one thing, and lunch we don't know because he's at daycare. But
He loves to eat though, doesn't he? I mean, he's the eater.
he's definitely an eater. He's
Yeah.
slowed down a little bit in the last few months, but yeah, no, he's always been a
Yeah,
really good
good
eater.
eater.
He's
Yeah.
always been a real good eater from the start. I remember the first time we gave him something from a spoon, like you know, he's trying. That's where they have no coordination.
Yeah.
They still like punch themselves in the face on
Yeah.
accident or whatever. Those were the days, man. He was so tiny, but now, yeah, he's. I don't know. You know, he's at that point where he's wearing jeans and stuff, and you're like, gosh, you're like a kid. He's still 2, so it's
Yeah.
like, you know, sentences are like he only says like maybe 3 words at a time.
Yeah.
Like, you know,
You're really gonna love it.
more cracker and then please. We always
Yeah.
have to tell him that kind of thing.
You're gonna be loving hearing about a year and a half or something when he's actually really talked to you and doing like fun little things.
Yeah.
because that's the way I am with Lexi. She's 5 now, so it's like
Yeah.
we go to like movies. Like usually we go about every other Tuesday to like a movie or something.
Nice.
We do like special little things together, or her mom and her do things
Yeah.
because the other two are just a little bit too small to do it and disrupt the
Yeah.
mess it up for the other kids or something like that.
Yep.
So we just make it go out of our way just to do something with Lexi, but it's really fun because she'll talk to you and it's the reward's paying off now,
Oh
so
yeah,
it's
yeah.
great.
No, I noticed when this party, and then Adam had a birthday party for his kiddo.
Yep.
And I talked to Lexi a little bit here and there,
Yeah.
and it was just it's like you're not talking to a little baby kid anymore. It's like
Yep.
a kid.
kid
Yeah.
So
Her
awesome.
hair too is so dark.
Oh, it's so dark. It's coming back. It's exactly like mine. It's just really thick.
Uh-huh.
And now I look at her and she's got her little bit chunk back. So I mean, she looks exactly like me now. It's just like spitting image, especially because her hair is shorter.
Yeah, I remember like the first time you came over with her, and I think you even had her in a car seat crib or something. And she was just, bounced off the wall as you do when you're like 1.5
Yeah.
or whatever. She's probably about 1.5 when I first met
Yeah,
her.
probably about then. Yeah.
And I mean, she doesn't even look anything like that anymore. She
No.
looks like a person,
Yeah.
not a kid. It's just crazy. You wonder how much your kids. There's some of that when you see somebody's baby picture. If you look at Robert De Niro's baby picture, kind of like I guess, but then you think just Taxi Driver and whatever else, something like that. So yeah, that's the cool part of your kids is just like blinking and you're like, whoa, what happened? Did you go in some little machine and Mr. Selinsky
Oh, man,
blew you up a little bit?
Time
That's
is just flying by, man.
That's
crazy.
That's a Disney Honey, I Shrunk the Kids reference if you didn't get that.
It
So
went
hopefully
over my
one
head.
or two. Okay,
Yeah,
one or
went
two
over my-
people
I haven't
got
seen
it.
that in so long.
It's really good.
I know. It
Yeah,
probably holds up pretty well.
Rick Moranis, I mean, he's a cool. I like him. You know, he did the old Kids in the Hall stuff, and then I always liked all the movies he did. You know, Ghostbusters.
What else is he in? He's in.
Yeah,
a bunch
like,
of
you
other
know,
things.
obviously the Honey, I Shrunk the Kids movies, but he's been in a lot of other stuff, especially in the 80s. And then he decided to kind of quit acting. Actually, I think it was his family.
Really?
I'm not 100%, but I'm pretty sure it was a lot of just like, hey, let me slow down. He started teaching drama in like a college. He did that for a long, long time. And he hasn't fallen off all.
Yeah.
It's like he hates what he does, but like, you know, he doesn't do comedy. I think he's just like moved on. He kind of, I don't know if he does a little bit of acting here and there, but I don't think much.
Yeah, I haven't seen him in anything in a long, long time.
Yeah, but I always liked him. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? He's
no,
got that
he's- yeah.
likability, that Billy
Like, yeah.
Crystal thing.
He
And
sort
Billy
of stands
Crystal's the
out.
same
He
thing.
blends in, but he also sort of stands out too.
Yeah. There's something to be said about all those old movies. City Slickers,
Yeah.
freaking, what's the one with the Harry Met Sally's? I mean, they're good. I mean, even though they're not, you know, action movie, yada, yada.
Yeah.
But like, if a break comes on, freaking City Slickers,
Yeah.
freaking, I'll watch that on a Tuesday at 11 o'clock, whatever. There's some great flicks out there. Freaking Big. Big was my jam as a
Big's
kid.
my jam, man.
You
That
could tell,
VHS
right?
tape, I wore that thing out.
Right, I'm a professional now, and I have a video game dads podcast. So I guess I'm living big without as cool. I don't have the trampoline.
Yeah. Oh, the trampoline scene. Yeah, I always wanted that. I was like, I'm gonna be an adult and have a trampoline in my house.
Yeah, and those
Yeah,
Zoltar
it didn't happen.
machines.
Zoltar.
Yeah,
I always see those like the reproduction ones, or like not reproduction, but newer ones, and I'm like, not the
Yeah,
same.
and they go
Not the
for a
same.
lot. Back
Yeah.
when there was some video game auctions pre our economic downturn in 2009 in the country of United States. I have to say that every once in a while. I forget we have
Yeah, a little bit.
listeners
Listening outside
listeners
of
all
this
around, up and down, all
neighborhood.
around. We appreciate you. .eu.zl. What is that? Was it New Zealand?
New Zealand, maybe.
Australia?
I
You
don't know.
got some Australia. You
Don't
got some
ask me
everywhere.
that.
Antarctica, no blips on that when I see the world map every once in a while when I check that out. That's still grayed out. Haven't had one single listen from Antarctica, so
Come on, step it
yeah,
up.
make it happen, penguins. What are we talking about? Okay, our video game book club. There we go. If this is your first time listening to us, we do this every once in a while. That's just part of our jam, our windjammers. Our video game book club is when the dads and listeners each pick a game that's usually overlooked, maybe misunderstood, not in the top 15, 20% of whatever system's library. And we give it a shot and play it in between and then talk about it on the next episode, much like a book club.
Yeah. So no Sonics, no Marios, pretty much.
Yeah, that kind of thing.
Yep.
Zeldas. We always
Zeldas,
say the
yeah.
same stuff, like Final Fantasies. Although I guess if you pick like Final Fantasy like 7.5
Tactics
or
or
something,
something, yeah.
6, whatever,
Yeah,
Tic
whatever
Tacs.
they're on.
Yeah. Yeah.
Dot, dot, dot.
Yeah. But anyway, we will talk about it in the next episode, much like a book club. And we encourage you also to do the same. Let us know what you think of them.
Yep.
We've had many of these. This time we had Thorn, longtime listener, friend of the show. And
of the show?
yeah, check out his Nerdtron64, right?
Yep.
Check out his YouTube. He's won a couple contests, so we
Yep.
send him packages. So you can check out his
Shows them
YouTube.
off every time, so thank you for
yeah,
doing
some of
that,
the
man.
random stuff we send him. So check him out. And his was Claymates for the Super Nintendo. Is that
Yep.
right? Yeah. And like we said, alluded to earlier, Adam's pick, the video game dad pick, we will skip for next episode,
Yep. So he's
just
back.
because he's not here. We've already got a couple segments of some things that I'm sure Adam will want to chime in on.
Yeah.
But Claymates for the Super Nintendo, huh?
Yeah.
Huh?
Pretty. It's okay. How are we gonna start this?
we'll
one?
start
Yeah.
this on like, did you hear this before it was suggested?
Have I heard of it before?
Yeah.
Yeah, I've heard of it before. I've seen it. Never seen really gameplay. I seen the box cover art for it.
Okay.
The first thing I thought was Clay Fighters.
Exactly. So
First thing I thought maybe this was another Clay Fighters game that I just never heard of or something.
I-
By just looking at the cover.
And I had just thought it was Clay Fighters at first because I forgot Clay Fighters was called Clay Fighters. And I was like, oh, Claymates, isn't that the fighter that was on
Yeah.
64 that wasn't good that came out? So I didn't know that this is actually a platformer,
Platformer,
a side-scrolling platformer, right? For Super Nintendo, which, there's a ton of those out there. But I like that, for having a moderate amount of video game knowledge, at least that's what I'd say about myself. Depends on the day. I didn't know about this game.
Yeah.
I never played it.
Yeah.
So it was nice to have another platformer that I hadn't heard of that's at least done well.
Yeah, it's a very like average of the road kind of game, but it has some. It's weird. It's like a very. There's nothing bad, but there's nothing great about it. It's this middle of the road kind of type of game. Graphics are good, sounds good. Controllers is probably the least standing out of everything.
It's kind of got this floatiness to it.
Yeah.
I mean, if we're just talking about controls, it kind of plays like a cool spot or Chester Cheetah. It's got this kind of floatiness to it. It's not super precise, but it also kind of depends on what character you actually are.
Yeah.
So let's talk a little stats on it. What you got?
Okay, it came out in '94.
Yeah, 1994.
Yeah. So Interplay was the people who made it.
The publisher.
Yeah, the
Interplay.
publisher. Yes, sorry. Interplay. Yeah.
And developed by Visual Concepts.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
And it came out like I don't know, almost a year earlier in
North of in
PAL.
PAL. Yeah, the PAL version's '93.
Yeah.
So '94 it came out here.
Yeah. So it's a single player game. You're basically a boy named Clayton. Huh? That's nice.
Oh,
huh?
Clay.
Yeah.
Claymation.
Here's boy, this kid named Clayton.
These guys really like their clay. Don't
Yeah.
they?
Yeah. And so obviously the sprite work is kind of clay based. That's the
Yeah.
other thing, obvious if we didn't already say that. So it was visually a different. It was visually something that was striking.
Yeah.
Back in the day. Again,
Yep.
you have to
It
think
would
time
stand
and
out.
place. That was the thing that one of the things that tried to make it. There's a few things in there, but basically, the kind of story is the kid's dad, Clayton's dad, developed this stuff in a beaker that can turn like any animals and any object into clay,
Yeah.
right? And then it can be moldable. And so, you collect stars. It's very much go from left to right,
Yeah,
get to the end
jewels
of
and
the
stuff.
level. You start out really, even the boys like turned into clay. So you're a blob of clay. And so you have levels of your kind of hit meter is based on how much you kind of res up, like like res almost. Like how res you get hit outside of that's the only thing like res, not the music. Can we quickly just talk about the music? I just wasn't a fan.
Yeah, it was like I said, it didn't do it bad. It just did it.
I thought it was a little too kiddie. The whole thing looks kind of it's aimed for younger audiences.
Yeah.
So I think it's definitely playable. And if you get it and you have a young kid, they're gonna like it too.
Yeah.
It creates a good challenge the more you go. But just overall, even for me, and I could play some Disney games. Shoot, I really like Mini Ninjas. We talked about that a couple episodes ago. But it was just like the music was a little too like circusy.
Yeah.
There's too many like repeating themes, and it got kind of annoying. I turned it down. I usually don't get super about music, but I like the music. I was just not a fan of. But it's nice, bright, colorful. You start out as like a ball of clay, a literal ball. And the idea is if you touch other balls of clay,
You turn into that
animal.
Yeah,
Yeah.
animal.
And so depending on what is the color, so like a gray piece of clay would mean that you turn into a mouse.
Yeah.
And then a brown piece of clay is a squirrel. Yeah. And then kind of this orangey one is a cat. And there's not a lot. I kind of felt like they could have done 10 different things, but what they did was they made every animal that you became slightly different.
Yeah.
And I thought like a couple of them were wonky. So the mouse, you immediately become the mouse, and the mouse like barks or like
just like a
shriek or something, and that's kind of its attack. But also it's
small,
real.
so it could get into smaller areas and stuff.
Yes.
But it's really forced. Like when you do that, it's like going into that area. Like if it's a small area,
It's too fast.
Yeah. You're turning into the mouse. You're gonna have to turn into the mouse. Like there's no real skill. It's just right there. So you're the mouse.
Yeah,
and you're gonna go in
yeah.
here.
So it's not reinventing the wheel, but
Yeah.
it's interesting nonetheless. You could have just stayed your protagonist and gone through and punched and clayed. So it's got a level to it where when you become that colored clay, when you pick up another piece of that colored clay, you now have like a bonus, kind of like when you're playing a side-scrolling shooter or something, or a space vertical shooter or whatever. You get like something circling your ship.
Yep.
That's kind of what happens here, and you can throw it like a boomerang. So that's kind of cool. But then if you get hit once, you lose that. So that's kind of your super.
And
so
then
to
if
speak.
you get hit while you're the clay, you die.
Yes.
So
Yeah, and you can't do much when you're the clay. You're pretty vulnerable.
you
And
get
there's a lot of
you get
enemies.
A punch.
Yeah.
You're the clay, and that's it.
Yeah.
That's what
And
you hit people with.
And that makes it tough. It's with a 4x3 ratio. Really, that's why I like Rayman. I still freaking Rayman is so good. And I'm talking even the old ones, like Rayman, the original is good. I think that the sprite is a little too big for my liking.
Yeah.
If you don't know what Rayman is, I guess check it out, look it up.
check
But
it
it's a pretty classic, colorful, well thought of platformer. I really like Rayman 2 because I thought it did 3D like really, really well. It's a real underrated game, especially for Dreamcast. It's the best version, I think. You have a PlayStation.
I haven't played it on Dreamcast before.
You haven't? It's so good. Now 64, the others, the muddiness, but on Dreamcast, Rayman 2 holds up really, really well.
I bet.
But then you get into the new ones like Rayman Origins and Rayman Legends. Oh, those games are so good. So if you played the old Rayman if you like a side scroller, like the modern side scroller, there's a few out there, but the Rayman games are amazing. They're so good, and you can play them in short sittings. If you're a video game dad and you have a new system or whatever, you can play that. Your kids can play it. It's just dang good.
It's crazy. I never buy any of those or get any of them, but every time that I see that there's a new Rayman, I always get the demo. It's crazy. The past 3 times, demo.
Really?
Like the Wii U got the demo.
But you don't own any of them, really?
No.
I have them all.
I do own the PlayStation version.
Oh, okay.
Yep, I do. I know I own that.
But I meant the new ones.
no, the new ones.
Oh.
No, but I always get the demo and play it, and I'm like, it's fun.
Oh, okay.
But
Yeah.
I just never go out of my way to get it though.
Yeah, it just gets real good. Anyway, we're not talking about that. We're talking about Claymates. No. It's good. No, it's just a recommendation.
Yeah.
Just we do play, more modern games. We kind of skew, 70-30, the old stuff to the new. So we talked about like the animals you turn into, and that's the thing that kind of it's a good size game.
Yeah.
There's a lot of levels. The overworld though is
the
kind of
overworld,
interesting.
yeah.
What'd you think about that?
To me, it's still middle of the road. It's just it doesn't stand out for me. It's just there. I don't know. There's no real purpose. I don't know.
Well, I kind of thought the overworld was a little different because it was you kind of had to have a mini puzzle before you like moved on. You have like these
that was cool.
These robots that for better or for worse, like it takes you a while to figure out what you're doing, but to move on to the next level, you kind of get these robots depending on how well you played in that level, and then you can move on. If you kind of move them through like a mini puzzle in between. I'm kind of, again, it's like take it or leave it. It was interesting. But some of the little things that it does during the level, like when you pop a balloon, it says like, great job, or that a boy, or something like that. And then you get these little bonus levels that kind of utilize the 3D effect of some of the Super Nintendo qualities. Like you'll do stuff that like, I feel like the people who made this game liked Sonic.
Yeah.
But didn't really
They
do
didn't like
much.
the speed.
Well, no, I mean the mouse. That's what I was saying.
Yeah, the
like,
mouse gets going.
The mouse, if
And you
you're
sort of have to
running,
pump
it
the
gets
brakes.
super
'cause
fast. Yeah,
the camera can't catch it, or type of deal.
yeah. But I mean, it's just like you could tell, like they probably liked that game, and they didn't draw like direct inspiration. But there's like little nuances. Like I bet you a couple of them liked it. Like you can't help but having that influence it. What do you think about the difficulty?
Difficulty not that bad. I mean,
Yeah.
pretty easy. I mean, it drags on.
Yeah.
It just drags on type of game. It's one that you would sit down and play for about 30 to 45 minutes, and you'd be like, eh.
Where do you think it dragged on the most? I could tell you, I thought it was out of all the animals, I thought the fish parts were like not so great because you have to be precise underwater, and like
That could get wonky at times.
yeah,
on certain game,
yeah, and when you're out of water, they do some clever things, but when you're kind of the fish and you have to go above the seaweed and move around this thing, it goes on quite a long time, and then you get to another level and similar. It does get a nice curve to it, so it does get more difficult.
Yeah.
But when you have to be as precise as you kind of need to be, you just kind of wish that there would be a new set of animals you could become instead of the same three. And the cat like can run sideways up a wall, and that kind of thing, so you can get to new areas.
Being clay and everything, you would hope there would be more to it, more characters to it. You'd be able to morph into more things. I mean, granted, I know it's a Super Nintendo game, but you would hope for more things
than those four.
Or like morph into something bigger or something like that.
Yeah, like have a super. The bosses
like
were
a super. Yeah.
The bosses were pretty cool, and they stayed with their kind of clay animation. I did like that. There was a neat little aspect once you got to a boss every once in a while. But let's see, we talked about the music. We talked about the controls being a little bit. They were precise enough.
Yeah,
but like they're not quite.
Kill the game or
yeah,
anything.
I mean they're not
that
quite.
bad. It's
Yeah,
like achievement or something like that.
But definitely worth like the asking price. I think.
Yeah, so the game's only going for like $10 loose. I mean that's a good
Yeah.
deal, and then 35,
If you want- yeah, if you-
34, something like that box.
If you want the box, and this is not in the top 10 or 15 platformers in the system, because there's so many. So that's what's nice. Like I played Plock, and if you think about it, like a game like Plock, which I didn't know about before, PLOK, and it's one of in our earlier episodes. If you listen, like there's some similarities there. It's colorful. I never heard of it. The protagonist is kind of random, but I like that game a lot better because the levels felt a little bit more breathable, if that makes sense. And these felt like, if a kid's playing it, they're going to go, well, let's put this here, let's put this there.
Yeah,
this felt like
it's
more
really
of in a
spoon-fed to
rental
you,
time.
yeah.
Again, very a neat game.
Yeah.
I'd say if you found it, and if you're a fan of platformers, it does enough differently that it's worth picking up because of the whole like mechanic of like absorbing clay and turning into something.
Yeah, and it looks pretty good too. So
yeah, it looks pretty good, but that music kills me. So that's why if you have between one or the other, and Plock you can get for close to that. I saw a Plock at V-Stock.
Really?
I picked up at a con. I thought for a good price, and it was a V-Stock for freaking $8.99, $9.99. I'm just like, dang it! Like that game's still, there's still something. There's still like deals out there. I don't know if people are just still trading in games or that kind of thing, but I'm still finding stuff out there. It depends, A garage sale's not so much, but
it's dead
that kind of
my
thing.
Way,
Yeah.
The way I've been doing it, it's dead.
Yeah, but buy one get two sales, this and that.
Yeah.
Or if you just if you like a certain genre, you probably already know about this game, but since I didn't, I'd say it's a game that you could play for a short period of time.
Yep.
Oh, there's no save states.
Yeah,
So you've got that.
yeah.
Is it a password system? I'm pretty sure it's a password system.
Can't remember.
I'm assuming it's a password system, but like again, just save states would have been wonderful. Yeah. And I didn't get to play to the end, but I did watch at least that last part, so I got to see what happens. I don't know if you did either.
Nah, I didn't watch that part.
It has like a little shooter area, which is kind of
cool.
neat. I didn't where you kind of I know. Yeah. Yeah, but the last level is kind of like that. There's a few games like that. I forget where like if you're playing a platformer at the very end, you do like shooting, which is also like Super Mario Land for the Game Boy, where they just do like a freaking side level. Like that's why I love like a game like Cuphead because it throws in some side.
Love that.
Cuphead is just so it's neat to look at, but I actually play. You're like, all right, cool, and I still haven't beaten it. I played the heck out of it 2 nights. And then I gave it a little rest because I was getting into such the hard levels.
Yeah, it's weird. So you get stuck on like one person, and it's just like,
I got over those humps, so I did. And I remember I get stuck and I beat it. I get stuck and I beat it, but it's still fatiguing.
Yes,
fatiguing.
it is.
Yeah. So I would have to like I took a break, and my brain is thinking, well, I'm taking a break, going back to that. I mean, I'll play some earlier ones, but I'll want to just like beat the last level. Yeah. It'd be cool. Maybe I'll try it. Or that'd be something to wait for the stream if we do that charity thing later this year. We'll do it again. We have no date and time for that, but that'd be fun.
That'd be awesome, man.
And let's talk about the back of the box. This is always something kind of interesting. We used to rent these things, and this would have been
a small novel here.
Yeah, the front of it and the back of it probably wouldn't have sold me because it looks a little too childlike. When you're like 9, 10, you want something like with a guy with a gun or something like that.
I do like on the front of the cover they do Blaze processing.
Yeah.
So they take a little jab at Sega there.
Yeah.
Blast processing.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's sort of cool.
Funny. So anyway, back of the box. Claymation will never be the same. I was like, okay. Now that Professor Putty has been bagged by the evil witch doctor Jobo, it's up to Professor Putty's son Clayton to set things up right. With the help of Dad's super secret new invention, young Clayton can transform into one of 5 different animals as he sets off to the rescue. Grab hidden pieces of clay and poof, you change into that in the nick of time. Tons of levels and power-up. It's funny how it says tons and it doesn't tell you the actual amount of levels.
Yeah.
Where that's rare. Most of the time they're like 8,
Yeah.
blazing,
32,
37. It's all about numbers, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, they don't do that. Like if you think on our boxes now, they don't do that either. So anyway, tons of levels and power-ups. Take this round-the-world adventure straight to the top. As an added bonus, Claymates features bonus games between levels, which are fun. Climb a tree, dig your way through the underground caverns, soar through the air, accelerate to unimaginable speeds, and explore the ocean depths. Nobody is going to gobble this guppy. Interplay state-of-the-art ARDI sound system blasts you into the over-the-world... What? Blasts you into this round-the-world adventure in search of Dad. Wow. This is all about Dad. It's a Dad game. Mind-boggling 16-bit graphics bring the Claymates to life. Bonus games between... We already talked about that. They're saying it twice. Keep you on your toes. And the bonus levels are really good. They've got that Sonic aspect
highlights
to them. Transform into 5 cool characters with awesome abilities, tons of hidden levels and power-ups. I wouldn't say tons.
Yeah, that's what I was...
Over 120 incredible sound effects, but they will use the same 5 over and over.
Yes.
Just getting out of that. Characters accelerate to incredible speed with Blaze processing. They mention it on the front and the back. And there's a little squirrel chomping around at the end of that. I'd say, what would you say? Baby bottle score, Shane, for Claymates for the Super Nintendo.
Man, I'll give it 3.0.
Yeah, actually, I was going to do 3.5, but with everything else out there,
on that a little bit.
Yeah, with everything else out there, I'm going to say 3.0 as well.
It's nice price point for a
middle
of the road game.
It's definitely playable, not broken, entertaining. But if you were like a dad, just wanted to play this by yourself, I'd say you'd have some trouble like having any fun playing this with your kid.
Great.
That'd be tons of fun. So that was Claymates for the Super Nintendo. Let's move on to our pick for episode 42. So our listener pick, we just did that real quick. We'll see if Adam even has to cut that or not. We just realized while we were talking we hadn't done our drawing yet right next to us. So we quickly did that, and we'll, again, put that video on YouTube to make it official. But it is, what is it, Shane?
Mickey Mania
from Lindsay, and this has been in there a long time.
Yeah.
This was probably, I'm pretty sure, at least in our top 3, our first 3 listener suggestions for the Video Game Book Club back a couple years ago.
I mean, the ball that was picked was 1, so I mean,
I know.
it's tucked back there.
Yeah, and I kind of, they're not in perfect order of when they came up, but yes, I know. Number 1 came out, so we'll hope it's the number 1 game.
Yeah.
I assume Genesis. We're going to have to go back and check, but we're going to say Genesis also came out for the Super Nintendo and...
Sega CD.
Yeah, the Sega CD. And you own that one, don't you, Shane?
Yep, I own that one. I actually had to make a case for it because I don't like loose discs, but I didn't want to give up the game either. So I made a little cheap little case, printed off the artwork and everything.
Hey,
look at me.
Nerd alert. Heck yeah. And our dad pick will be a carryover from last time, 13.
Yeah.
Also Roman numeral XIII for the PS2. Pick it up. It's cheap.
Yeah.
See what you think of it.
Dirt cheap game.
We'll say that for episode 4. Well, it's 42 now. Did I say the episode number at the beginning of the podcast?
I don't know. Maybe not.
I hope I did. Maybe I didn't.
Edit it in.
No, it's okay. I mean, we don't need to. But yeah, I said it at least now. But I'm pretty sure it's episode 42. Thanks for listening, everybody.
Now we'll say it 100 times, guys.
Brain dead dads who don't have. I just, it's part of this, man.
Well, yeah. I mean, we got so much going on with our lives right now. It's
you see
crazy.
you see my thumb?
Yeah, your thumb is chewed up.
So like I was changing. It's a dad injury. I was changing the batteries of my son's like speak and cell. It's one of those where the cow says moo, and, and it spins in a circle.
Oh yeah.
So anyway, we picked that up from like a really Goodwill for like $2 or whatever.
Nice.
And I tried to it stopped working, so I was going to change the batteries. And I noticed I was like, oh, I bet they're kind of crusty in there, and I think it all got like rusted shut. So and doubly unfortunately, I used a multi-tool. If you don't know what a multi-tool is, kind of like a random Swiss Army knife, so to speak. That's got a few little things. It's mainly meant for the plier-ish part of it.
Yeah.
but it also had a Phillips in there. So I rolled the Phillips back, but the problem is it's on a swivel. Yep. So I used a lot of torque and pushed real hard to try to uncrank this screw. And when I did, it flipped off, closed the multi-tool on my thumb. And it was one of those where it hurt real bad all of a sudden. I thought like, oh, I'm going to be, so I might be bleeding. So I looked at my thumb on, the pad part of my thumb, and I'm like, oh, okay, it's not bleeding. And then I turned my thumb around, and my nail is like a fourth of it's gone and just hanging there and just sliced. And I was like, oh.
I always hate it when I bend back my nails, so I could only imagine that pain.
I think it did it so cleanly. It was a delayed pain, not till I like put underwater and put some stuff. But what stinks about it is it's this like edge lip of my nail that I had to like, use your thumb a lot. The first like 24 hours, I couldn't use it at all because it hurt a bunch. Because every time I'd like, hopefully cringing, getting people sick. Like I every time I like bent my thumb, the Band-Aid was on it, so it would pull up the little nail part over and over. So I was like, okay, I know. So anyway, I don't know. It's been almost, hopefully at a week, it'll be better. It doesn't hurt anymore. It's just more like I know I'm going to get
be
it
okay
snagged.
Though, or is it going to be
again? The part that came off is going to be, but it's still connected at the cuticle part, just not at the nail part, since it sliced it pretty good.
Yeah.
So it's just one of those like you got to wait till it falls off, but I don't want it to get snagged.
Yeah.
The Band-Aid came off in bed last night, and I was like aware of it, so I was like holding my hand like out, but I was too tired to like change the Band-Aid. But anyway, that's my war
injury. You're sleeping with your hand up in the air.
People have been like shot in the leg or like falling down the stairs or like, get over it.
Yeah.
Are you hurt? Are you injured?
Be a man.
A little of both, to be honest with you. Dad injury. All right. But that was our video game book club segment. We talked about the back of the box. Pick it up if you think you should. So anyway, moving on from gruesome injuries, let's talk about something less gruesome. Some people didn't like it. PlayStation's State of Play.
We can talk
real quickly about that. You check that out, Shane?
I did check it out. I ended up running through the conference sort of quick. It was weird how the way they had it set up.
Well, it wasn't meant to be a conference. It's just like this kind of update about, hey, what's going on?
It reminds me of like a Nintendo Direct pretty much type of deal.
Exactly
what it is.
Yeah.
But the only thing that they had some good information and it was put together very well. But my thing is like they pushed the PSVR stuff like really heavy on this, which I like PSVR, so that's awesome. But if you didn't like PSVR, you might sort of wanted something a little different.
Yeah, so it was the first time they had this, so people kind of didn't know what they were getting, and what they were getting was kind of what you think. You could check it out yourself. It was just the 2019 State of Play. Kind of says what's kind of coming up that they wanted to talk about before like E3 hits, knowing they're not going to do a conference anymore. But it's just kind of like, hey, some upcoming things. And it kind of stressed like, hey, we see that we've sold a lot of PlayStation VR things. Let's talk about some games. Yep. They talked about some non-VR things, but it was heavy VR.
Heavy VR.
And so you got to think, maybe 1 in, I don't know, 10. Well, they did say they sold like 4 million of these things.
Oh,
5
really?
million. Yeah.
Wow.
They did finally let out.
At first, I feel like they were going in trouble with that a little bit. Like it didn't like take off, but then
they
hit
stuck,
a certain point.
They
it really
stuck with
hit.
it because at the end of the day, something like that never will, right?
Yeah.
The adoption, the price of it at the time when it originally came out was $300. It's a niche thing. It's hard to sell VR unless you actually play it. So the only way they could do is say, okay, guys, we're all in, and they've been saying they are. And even for the next console, what we have heard, at least through the channels that I follow, are like, hey, PlayStation's kind of double down on VR's the future. And I'm like, good, because people get burned on a lot of different stuff. Peripherals, look back in the freaking Sega 32X and the Jaguar and
Connect.
There's a lot of stuff in the past. Wii U, so to speak. Honestly, really,
there's tons of junk.
There's a lot of stuff where it was like, hey, we're not going to really back this completely, and we're gonna know when to hold them and when to fold them. We're going to fold them before our stock prices dip or something like that. But for better or for worse, they're doing it, and they're coming out with the first thing they showed was this like
Iron Man.
Yeah.
It was pretty cool.
Iron Man VR experience. But
yeah.
what it will do is get to the masses. That's the thing.
Yeah, that one sort of seemed like a little mini game type of deal. Like it didn't seem very in depth. Like
Yeah, it was like flying. It was kind of trying to say, hey, if you want to fly like Iron Man,
Yeah.
you know, you could tell it started with that idea. You know, who knows until we play
yeah,
it. But
exactly.
it was a lot of like hardcore gamers that were watching this thing were like, that's not for me.
Yeah, I think that the whole video they should have more just went with not so much heavy on anything and just sort of kept it middle of the road. I'm like, here's some VR, here's some of this, here's some of this. Like,
Yeah.
And kept it all nice and even. But I felt like they just were really heavy on the VR.
Yeah.
Which, not a bad thing, because I mean, one of the games I was really looking forward to was the Blood and Truth.
Oh, yeah.
That game looks freaking awesome.
Yeah.
It almost looks like it was on the demo disc, the London Heist.
It is. That's a continuation of it.
Is it a continuation of it? Okay.
Yeah. Well,
See-
London Heist was. They always said it was going to be a game, and this is it.
Okay, I sort of figured that because it's got the same feel, and
Yeah.
I'm really jacked up about this one,
Yeah,
man.
yeah. It's the one that came with the demo disc. It's really like highly polished. Like you feel like you're in a mobster movie or Snatch.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I
the
feel like
movie,
yeah.
the movie Snatch. Or like what's the other one with the Guy Ritchie film that's like two shotguns and a hobo and a
Smoking Barrel or something. Yeah, I know what you're talking about. Yeah,
okay.
yeah.
I can't think of it either, but anyway, it's like a Guy Ritchie film except freaking first person. You're right in on it, you know.
Yeah.
Like when you smoke a cigar and you blow out, and then like you blow out actual smoke because it can tell when you're doing
microphone's
because
right
the
there.
microphone's right there. Like just that kind of thing. It's really neat, and you know the headsets got down to like $150. You can get on sales and things like that randomly. And there's going to be a PS VR aspect to The Last of Us, the new Last of Us game.
Oh, yeah.
But we don't know how much or what it's going to be, that kind of thing. But it was just a little segment. But check it out if you're interested in that or you want to see what's kind of up and coming for the PSVR. Oh, they said No Man's Sky is going to be VR.
VR, yeah. That'd be
That's-
pretty cool, man.
that'd
But
be-
I wonder how deep it's going to go. Because that's the only thing that sort of worries me about VR is sometimes you get not
Oh no,
a
this
deep-
is going to be like actual like you're going to be in VR mode
Oh, wow.
completely.
Okay.
It's not an experience or
Yeah.
anything. This is going to be like you're walking around first person whatever, and that would be really cool cuz the planets and stuff that they show,
Yeah.
real chill game. Like
Yeah.
that's again
That would be the way that's set up. I mean, you could keep your headset on for a while and do that. Then that would work out well with.
Yeah,
that
I
game.
always said when VR came out, I was like, wow, I wish No Man's Sky had a VR mode
Yeah.
to it. That would be really, really cool. But anyway, moving on from that. So quickly we could talk about, there's some news, at least a leak. You know how we said this a couple episodes ago, the Nintendo Switch, the handheld console hybrid, is probably getting 2 new SKUs, also known as like new versions, right? It's like the Acura TL versus the Honda Accord. That's what we're saying here. That they're going to bring out 2 new versions of the Switch.
Be awesome is because it might have like a hardcore, more of a graphical awesome system. It'd be
Yeah, so I guess of the 2 SKUs, there's one that we haven't said the
it'd
details
almost be like
yet.
it's pro to like a PlayStation, I guess. Yeah.
Yeah, so there's going to be a new system that supposedly has more beefy hardware aimed at the hardcore gamer, in quotations, and then another one that's more budget-friendly minded, much like a la that 2DS they had that
Yeah.
was like all front, Wii version of
No
this.
breakable off Joy-Cons and stuff like
Yeah.
that.
But the first thing I think about is like, well, what does that mean in terms of the discrepancy of the quality of the games between the different models? So
Yeah.
you've got the average Switch, the normal Switch, and I can tell you right now, I mean, I'm already like, I'm going to keep mine. I know Adam will get all of them. And you'll probably get one of them, either the hardcore or the kid one for another kid or something. I don't know. So there's something to be said about it. They obviously feel like there's going to be a market for it. But again, it's, it might be a tough sell. The Switch is not for hardcore gamers. The general, again, we're not talking collectors, maybe not even our audience. We're talking just the average person. Remember, they have to sell millions of these things.
Yeah.
Is that going to get somebody, well, what are they going to call it? They have to call it something, not the Switch Pro.
Yeah.
And then what does it actually mean? Does it mean the processing is better? The graphics, how much better do the graphics need to get?
Yeah, and how much are they actually going to be able to really do to pack in there too? I mean, I don't think they could go really crazy. I mean, I would like to see maybe a little bit better screen or something like that.
I'm wondering like the science of it is the smaller the screen, you get to it.
Maybe the budget one would do that,
Well, what I was meaning was like your graphics can only look so good on a small screen. Just like when you get 720 to 1080 back before 4K, if you had a 19-inch screen, you really couldn't tell much of a difference. Yeah. And so I kind of wonder like, well, will it look better on the TV mode? Hopefully, because it doesn't look super great blown up. Yeah. If you're on a big monitor. But like, what are you kind of hoping for the hardcoreness of it? I guess
it would be more of cleaning up everything, just making it a little bit crisper, just a little bit more. Okay. But I mean, of course, I know they're not going to be able to go to the power of like a Xbox One X or anything like that.
Battery life.
And the battery life.
Weight.
See, that's my thing. I would want like in the I guess whatever you want to call it, let's call it the Pro.
We'll just say the Pro version of whatever.
Yeah, Pro version, and improved battery, maybe improved the graphically, but battery would be the main thing for me. And to me, I don't.
But to me, what's a 20%, 30% better looking Switch game necessary? I don't know, because it's not going to be night and day.
Maybe to help with third-party games.
Maybe, okay.
I think that would be the main thing, because I mean, Nintendo's got their stuff down. I mean, they could work with what they got, but third-party maybe struggling a bit, and for future-proofing this thing, maybe that would help prolong this.
Right. I know. And I kind of just, I would rather have them focus.
Because I feel like the Switch right now is sort of maxing itself out. Like, I mean, it's not going to get,
but
I can't push itself much more.
And I'm kind of like, I don't need it to be pushed. I'm already impressed enough with what I have there. Like, it can play a weird version of Doom, and it does enough. But maybe that's because I actually have the PS4 and the other stuff that scratches my itch. But a lot of the things are indie games that are selling really well, and a lot of people, the stuff they're playing isn't really pushing, so to speak. So I'm wondering, like, well, if it slightly does that, like, will there be a market for? That's to me what's kind of interesting is like, what are the other side effects of this? Will it grip better? Are they going to change like the shape of it? Is it going to get slightly bigger and better?
A little control pad on there.
Yeah. Does that mean they're going to get rid of the kind of common one that they have now?
Yeah.
Is that going to like piss off a lot of people? Because will some of the cards work and some not?
Because then you're not going to be able to play like some of those Joy-Con specific games like a Mario Party and stuff.
I'm playing devil's advocate, but honestly, these are just my questions.
Yeah.
Honestly, I'm wondering that. And the budget one to me is more interesting.
Yeah. The budget one. There's no way they're going to do Joy-Cons on a budget one. I couldn't see that.
Them breaking off. So that would be a lot of games that they couldn't do. Yeah. So I feel like there's going to already be some games in the library that aren't going to be able to play on both.
My big thing, like on the budget one, thinking about is like, okay, are you going to be able to dock this thing? I mean, that would be a deal breaker for me.
So
like,
I would
see
a budget one without a dock.
Yeah, that would be a deal breaker for me. Is like, why would I need it? Then it's just pretty much a handheld. Then
you're really telling people that the 3DS is over.
Yeah,
or the DS
you're killing the 3DS then.
Yeah. So, but they've always kind of said they don't want to do that. So interesting. Yeah. When they actually let this out, I'm curious as this unfolds. But so far, the preliminary information is that 2 new SKUs are coming.
Yep.
One's fresher and one's kiddier.
Yeah.
And we'll kind of see what comes of it. But those are at least our initial thoughts.
Yeah, I need a second Switch because my son's taking over mine. So
yeah,
I mean, that's why I really need another one. So I'm sort of waiting to see what these things are going to look like.
Yeah, in a few years I would have to do the same thing. All right, real quickly, let's move on to some of our listener emails. Does that sound good, Shane?
Sounds great.
All right, maybe I'll do. Do you want to do emails and you do the iTunes reviews? Sound good?
Yeah, I'll do the iTunes. Yep.
All right. So this first email is from Kevin. It's been a bit since I emailed you guys. Just wanted to chime in a couple things. Support you over some of the silly stuff from last episode. Yeah, thanks. It's some. I'd like to also mention for the handheld holla is Donkey Kong Land 2 for the Game Boy. Great,
Sweet.
So shouting that one out. He says perfectly designed for the Game Boy. Basically a handheld port of Country 2.
Nice.
Also has a question for us. Being 37 and gaming for most of his life, he's ashamed to say he is only now playing Castlevania games. Started with Symphony, and I love it. Your show still rocks. Keep it up. Thanks.
Thank you.
Yeah, and this next one from, let's see, Lee. What up, video game dads? First-time listener, long-time emailer. Just kidding. Ha ha. Lately, my son and I have been expanding our retro collection. We are ready to plan a trip to Grinkers. I don't know what that is. In Eagle, Idaho. Any ideas?
No.
To play some rare games. So I've had a question for you video game dads. If you could have any arcade in the world, what would it be? What is your holy grail? My son would like a Mario Brothers wide body, and mine is Tapper. Love the show. Thanks for staying family friendly. Keep on keeping on. Thanks. Okay, so what do you think? Any arcade you can have?
Oh man.
I mean, we kind of talked about this before, but like,
Yeah, we have
I mean,
talked about this before, but my mind, I've changed.
That expensive like $13,000 Jurassic Park one that just came out by Raw Games, I would want.
Yeah.
Honestly, that's not retro; it's newer. I love that thing. You
Yeah.
can't play it at home. That thing would be wonderful. If you're talking old school, I mean, I have the red tent version of Ninja Turtles. It'd be really cool to have Simpsons just because
yeah.
like. It's that blue side body.
Yeah, it's just.
But honestly, a really good working Discs of Tron would be really cool.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
Or the Star Wars arcade in the big
Tron
sit.
for me. I mean, yeah, Tron's always the one I've always wanted, but could never get my hands on. It's just a little bit out of my range because everybody who has Tron's like, I got Tron.
Yeah.
You're gonna pay $1,000 for it. So.
Yeah, I mean, best or honestly would probably be that one weird Sega made one that had the hologram, the Sega hologram thing.
That thing
the
is
big
awesome,
white
dude. Yeah.
like crazy thing.
I guess that thing is heavy.
Yes, it is.
I was
It
talking
comes
to
in a lot of
somebody about
pieces.
that. Yeah,
It was me. Yeah, I think because I've
yeah.
talked.
Don't
to,
call me on that one.
No,
Forget that, man.
no, and it's hard to get that thing working because it used laser discs and stuff. So,
Yep.
But anyway, yeah, it'd probably be that.
I'd go with Tron, or I would go with let me see. I would like a Nintendo, Nintendo Play Choice. Like that would be awesome, or a red tent.
Yeah,
just
we're
because
talking like prime condition, something like that. Yeah.
Mhm. That'd be awesome, man.
Yeah, most def. Okay. All right. Another one. This one's a longer one, but nice. Hey, gentlemen, I saw you all walking by your booth at the Retro Gaming Expo in Portland. Actually, it wasn't our booth. That was our friend of the show,
Yep.
Married Guy Gamer. We just had some merch there.
Yep.
But glad we
It's
caught
nice
your
enough to
attention.
list, yeah.
Yeah.
Have it there.
But anyway, back in October, download a few episodes and just to see what your show is all about. Wonderful. He says he is a self-proclaimed podcast addict and found a few things interesting that of a number of podcast norms that we break. And he says actually that's a big reason why he likes the show. He says that we try to post once every 3 episodes. It's not, the norm. I know they do more often. But when that can't happen due to life and family, you acknowledge it on the next and give details why it happened, but you continue to work towards your goal.
Yeah.
And just how relatable it is. He says he's currently on his 5th or 6th time trying to write this email to us, but he keeps getting stopped by his daughter, who's I think 18-month-old. I think he says every
nice.
30-minute naps are the same as a standard 3-hour nap. Yep.
Yeah.
He says please send help. I say
I can't help you, buddy.
keep them in the crib a while. That's what we say. Even if they're not sleeping and they're in the crib, like that's still crib time
Yep,
at least.
that's some crib
That's
time.
still like self-soothe time. So just keep them in there. Don't go in at the drop of a hat. That's the best thing to say. But otherwise, like more power to you.
Yeah.
2 fist pumps, one
rough time.
pointed up to the air. He also says the length of them being over an hour at first was daunting. But when you put it into context that you are busy dads, it makes sense for your availability. Exactly. That's
Yeah.
why we do it. We rarely get a chance to get together. So when we do, we try to crunch it all out. And then that way, knowing you all can't have episodes every week, we try to make it longer so you can break it up over your listens or driving and that kind of thing.
Yeah.
But knowing that our schedule is extremely limited, and since some of your segments are insightful and informative, shared so good, why not a longer episode be a bad thing? He's like, yeah. So we probably have to a lot of hurdles. The dad thing, if you're not a dad, you might not want to listen. You see the length of our show, you might not want to listen. But yeah, I'm glad you kind of see the point to all that.
Yeah, appreciate
And he
that.
says, we know our niche listeners, video game lovers and parents, not going to assume gender. Yeah, you're right. We have some lady listeners as well. A few of you out there, more than a few.
Yeah, met my tons before.
Yeah, you really make us feel valued by listening to feedback and having opportunities for engagement like the video game book club segment. While I would want to go on for everything I like about the show, I realize that your kids will be in college by the time I finish putting this email uninterrupted. So in short, thanks for everything you are doing. Great comfort to know that there are other dads and parents out there that love video games and love their kids. And that are open to sharing their experiences, however personal. From Mikey.
Oh, we appreciate it.
Appreciate it. He said, P.S. A game I'd like to add to the book club is Uncharted Waters, the original for the Sega Genesis. He showed the cover art. Thanks for the cover art link. I clicked on that, and it looks like a romance novel.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's really weird looking.
Uncharted. I never heard of this.
Yeah, so we'll put that in the.
Sega guy, too.
We actually did it. I put it at the latest pick for this last one. It did not get picked this time, but it's in there. He says it is a family favorite growing up, and not only is it fun to play, it also teaches you about geography, trading, bartering in the 16th century. I'm sorry, I fell asleep. Oh, I woke back up. I'm sure it's fun.
A little bit of Carmen San Diego
I'm just
and
playing with
Oregon
you.
Trail there.
Yeah, it looks like some strategery there. Well, bang for the buck, man. Back then,
Yeah. Okay.
storyline admittedly isn't super strong, but the rest of it is pretty solid in my opinion. Cool. Well, we definitely give it a shot if and when it gets picked. So thank you for that. You got some iTunes reviews there,
yeah, I got
Shane?
some here. Let me
Again,
pull it
good or
up right
bad,
now.
we will shout them out.
All right. Love the show. This is from at Sanchez. Who is this? Who's that? I don't know.
A chance?
A chance? Yeah.
Sure, I don't know.
Yeah, let's go with that. Love the show. Love the show. Sorry. Great discussion of retro and newer games. Great dynamics among the host and very realistic. Relatable host. A great choice for dads who love gaming.
Hey, thanks. 5
Thank
star.
you. 5-star, baby. Woo! Thank you. VGCharts.com for Larry. This is from Trav Rid. Guys, don't let this guy bug you. Larry needs to get a life and use Google like the rest of us.
Yeah, we
Or
have.
like the rest of the world. Keep up the good work. Love the show.
Yeah, and if we talked about it last episode.
Yeah.
We got a salty review, and we talked about it a little bit. And
Yeah.
so we obviously have a few extras kind of making up for it. So
Yeah.
whatever.
Yeah.
We'll just leave it at that.
We'll leave it at that. All right. This one's from Thor Frog. Some of these names.
I'm assuming it's Thorin, but we'll see.
Okay.
I don't know.
Awesome show. It's another 5-star. Great podcast. Cover a wide range of game topics and stuff. Must subscribe for any gamer. I love driving on a road trip, listening to your reviews and talk.
Cool.
Yeah. You want to do one more of these?
Well, all of them.
Well, yeah. Well, I'm going to get to them. I'll switch back over to you. Joe J. Hutt. Great information. I'm so glad I found these guys. They are very informative and cover a plethora of topics, games, and consoles. They are family friendly and are just real people talking about real life. Well, thank you. Yeah,
Thanks.
that's what we do. All right. Sorry, I thought that we had a few more emails, but this is our last iTunes review. AU Builder 99, another 5-star. It's a great podcast. The podcast is informative on many levels. Great work.
Yeah, thanks everybody for giving us those
Yeah, thank you,
reviews.
thank
We
you.
really appreciate it. That's kind of a way to give back. If we don't charge anything except our time is what we kind of pay for this. But we love interacting with you guys. So a way we get seen a little bit more is if we get more iTunes reviews.
Yeah.
So if you feel we are worth it, give us that. It helps us be seen.
We appreciate it.
Yeah, and word of mouth also is fun too. It's a great way to break the ice. We've always said that before too. Like
Yeah.
at the end of the day, if you see another kind of nerd and they're in the wilderness and you see them poke their head out and say, "Oh, is that one of them? I don't know. Let's show them. Hey, do you listen to podcasts? There's this one out there, and it's good." And if anything, it could start you up and talking about something else. That way, if they get all like If they turn out to be weird, then you already know they're like, hey, okay, well, I won't talk to you anymore, guy. All right, moving on. So we have a new little mini classic system that came out. Not much information, but Shane, what do you got?
Well, little Sega coming out, little Sega Mini.
Sega what?
Sega Mini.
Sega Genesis.
Sega Genesis Mini.
Yeah.
And thank Baby J. It's not At Games that is doing this. This is official Sega doing a mini console.
Yeah, we think. I mean, I thought they said that like maybe At Games would be the maker, but like Sega's overseeing it a little bit more.
No, I think
it's just 100% out.
Yep, they broke away from them.
Okay.
They're gone Gandhi, no more.
Wonderful. Okay.
Yeah, because those systems had some problems.
Yeah.
We won't go into detail on that, but they're junk.
So
Don't worry about them.
They made the NES Mini. They made the Super
Nintendo.
and then they made the PlayStation debacle one.
Yep.
And now their Genesis is finally getting in on it. So what is the release date?
Release date's on the September 9th.
Okay. So it's
Yeah.
coming out later this fall. Price point?
$80.
Cool. How many
Yeah.
games are in that sucker?
They're saying 40.
Okay.
40 games. They've only released 10 games. I don't know. They're doing the way of PlayStation. They're sort of holding back the last 30 for some weird reason. Maybe they're working out some details on some. Maybe
or
getting the rights to some. I don't
yeah,
know. That's
no,
just weird.
I bet you actually it's just a slow release.
You
so
think
they
so?
can get you
Okay.
talking about it and it gets hype going.
Yeah, it
because
gets you
this
talking
far
about it.
ahead, yeah. I bet you that's it. So, I mean,
It comes with 2 wired controllers.
That's
but they're
pretty good.
3 buttons though. I don't
Yeah,
like the 3
yeah.
buttons, man. Those things. Hopefully, maybe they shrink them down just a little bit because those things
Yeah.
are pretty big.
so those that don't know, the Genesis, came with a 3-button and a 6-button version, and most games just utilize the 3, but and that's the more classic form of it.
Yeah.
Here's the I don't know if I heard that maybe the European version is getting the 6-button.
Oh, really?
I thought I heard that. So what that tells me though is that these games probably can play in 3 or 6.
Yeah.
Which means you might just have to get an additional one. So if you're really bent about the 6-button, you could probably just get a third-party one.
Yeah, and hopefully it's a USB. I didn't see if it is. It looks like it might be USB
Yeah, I don't know.
connection. If that's the case, there's a bunch of people doing controllers for Genesis right now that are USB that are very good, that are wired.
All right. So why this might be a harder sell to a lot of people, and maybe our audience as well, is, there have been Sega Genesis collections released on mini systems for quite some time. And how many you said this thing has? It has 30?
40 total. 40 total games.
It does have 40? Okay.
Yeah, it does
that's,
have 40.
That's pretty good.
Yeah, it's a beefy
I didn't know
lineup
that. I
there.
thought for some reason it had like 30 or 25 or something. So the fact it has 40 is great. But, how many of these are going to be sequels? Sonic 1, 2, 3.
Yeah.
It would be great if like 10 of them are the games that aren't on the classics collections. What are the 10 that they've released so far?
So the 10 that they released so far are Sonic the Hedgehog, of course, Echo the Dolphin, Castlevania Bloodlines, that's awesome.
That's good.
Yeah, Gunstar Heroes, awesome.
That is
Real
good.
hidden gem there. Space Harrier 2, Comic Zone, that's
What's
awesome.
fun? I think they only released 5 a couple days ago, and they already released another 5. Because
did
when I first heard about this, they only said 5, and they hadn't said the ones
Okay.
that you've said. So keep going.
Shining Force, RPG. Dr. Robotnik's Mean Bean Machine.
Sure, they gotta have that.
Yep.
That's like a Dr. Mario.
Yeah. Toe Jam and Earl,
Okay, great.
Alter Beast. I
Okay,
like
of
Alter
course.
Beast. Yeah.
I mean,
that's a
It's
original.
a given. It's a
Yeah.
given for sure. They'll have that in the Sonic. So okay, good. I mean, those are great, especially if you don't
that's a good start.
have the classics collections available.
Yeah.
I mean, just think about this. Like, if you are a dad and you like video games and you don't have any of the new systems, like you can get these minis of everything,
Yep.
even the lowly PlayStation.
Yeah.
And you've already got like a ton of games to play with your kids in a system that you don't have to worry about them kind of breaking.
Yeah.
Although I don't know, the original, right? The original classic and SNES became really easy to find, right? So
Yeah.
they're not expensive, both
Yeah.
of them, right?
Yeah, you can find them both now easy
Even
for retail.
still?
Yeah,
Even
even
still.
still. Yeah.
Wonderful.
Yeah, I
Well,
know.
that's good.
great. Yeah, hopefully this one does the same, which they
Oh,
probably
yeah.
will. They'll pump out a ton.
Unfortunately, Genesis just does not sell like the Nintendos, no
well,
matter
also,
what.
this is why I think they did right, though. That $80 price point, if they would have dropped, 20 games, 25 games like Nintendo did on theirs,
Yeah.
it wouldn't work.
40, yeah,
You have to give more
Yeah.
You know, you're not Nintendo, unfortunately. That's
$2
the way
a
people
game.
look at it.
Yeah, $2 a game is good considering how many did the PlayStation only had 20? Right?
Yeah, see, that's what I knew that was.
So that was $5 a game.
Yeah, at that price point, I looked at it when I first seen it. I was like, this doesn't seem right.
Right.
You have to really knock a home run on the games on that price point for only 20 games, and they
totally
didn't.
No,
Yeah,
3-4 games maybe
And
worth that. Yeah.
And another thing on this thing, hopefully the main thing they have to get right is, you know, it sounds right, looks right, plays right. You know, that's the first main thing, because
Right.
that's what the PlayStation didn't do right.
Yeah.
I mean, they didn't play right. They had European versions that didn't, you know, running slower,
Yeah.
not the same. So hopefully, and I think they will. I think it'll turn out good. So
Yeah, I'm excited.
what games would you be looking for on this then?
I haven't thought about it. So, if we already are assuming a lot of the Genesis games that are already out, are there like, what's that Chaos? General Chaos?
General Chaos, yeah.
General Chaos would be cool.
Yeah, it would be cool.
I would want games that like people didn't really play that still have an opportunity to play, like the Mutant League games.
Yeah,
Mutant
that'd
League
be
Hockey,
awesome.
Mutant League Football. Put them on there.
Yeah.
That would be great. Soviet Strike, something like that. You're the big Genesis guy. So
Yeah.
how many Genesis games do you currently own, give or take?
200 boxed, I think, is where I'm at
That's a
now.
lot,
Yeah,
dude.
200 boxed, and then probably 15 loose.
All right, so you're the
Yeah.
better. What would you? I love like the old X-Men game. I loved the Genesis.
Yeah.
I like the twangy sound, but I want to
Yeah.
know what you would want on there.
I mean, I would want like some shooters. Get some shooters on there. Add some good, you know, like Truxton or
Truxton, yeah,
Lucia. That'd be awesome. Just
Yeah.
Golden Axe. I mean, that would be awesome if it was on there.
Yeah. Oh, I think Golden Axe would definitely be on there.
Yeah, I think so too.
I would rather have Golden Axe 2. It's just a better game.
Yeah, exactly. That's funny. Me and my daughter went back and played Golden Axe this here recently, and it's like I went back and looked at it. It's like it's a little rough.
Yeah, the
rough.
first
But the
one-
second one, lots cleaner.
Second one's cleaner, and then of course I want all Streets
Streets of Rage. That's what I was about to say. Streets of Rage. At least just get 2 on there. Just get 2.
Yeah, if you're
and
only
call
gonna
it-
have one, get
Yep.
2. But
Amazing.
with having 40, I bet you they have 2 of them.
Yeah,
And I wish it would be 2 and 3, but I understand.
I think it'd be 1 and 2.
I understand why it'd be 1 and 2.
Yeah,
I get it.
It'd be 1 and 2. Yeah, the Mutant Leagues would be awesome.
Echoes are beyond that, but again, these are the things we want. So
Yeah.
it can go.
Let me think.
Sports you can't really. Yeah, it depends. Again, we already
Yeah, you
said
couldn't pay for those. It may be nice to have like an NBA Jam on there, but I don't see that happening.
Right.
That'd be awesome. Man.
They've kind of announced as an aside, those arcades. I think they're trying to have an NBA Jam cabinet.
Oh, are they?
For the
One Up arcade, yeah.
Yeah, Arcade One Up.
Tuki would be another good one. It was like a little arcade back in the day. That'd be a cool little game to have.
Yeah.
Some
fighters on there.
Yeah, some fighters, some Street Fighter, of course. Get some Street Fighter on there.
Mortal Kombat 2.
Ooh, Mortal Kombat. But then I always wonder, like on these minis, if they're worried about putting like a Mortal Kombat there and then have an M for mature, so then it sort of kicks, the rating up.
Yeah, but
or
then,
how's that work?
Okay, well, the PlayStation one at least had that Rainbow Six, but you're shooting people.
Yeah.
But Rainbow Six probably back then was teen. It's also
I think it was
like
teen.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but back then, a lot of games that were rated E for everyone would not pass that way now.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's something to think about. I'm not sure.
Hyperzone Heist would be cool on there.
Oh yeah, Hyperstone Heist would be awesome.
Not as good as the Super version, but let me see. Man, there's so many good Genesis games. My brain isn't working.
That's all right.
Man.
I think as long as they put in a few surprises,
Yeah.
that would be great.
That's why I get another 15 of staple games like a Golden Axe 2,
Strider.
something but then after that, just get some oddball stuff in there, you know? That would be cool.
Yeah. It's
More
just,
off the wall.
Yeah. Or like a platformer that's not the typical one. And again, I know they're going to put all the dang Sonics on there, but just put 2 of them on there.
Yeah, just put 2 and 3.
Because, there's the people that like the Knuckles or whatever. I mean, even though those games are interesting, I just I don't know. It's like if you're, that'd be a lot of the space available, I guess, for those games.
I'd say just put 1, 2, and 3 and call it good. Don't worry about no Knuckles and stuff like that.
I
I think they're gonna go down that road and fill it full of
as they have in
Sonic
the past.
Spinball, and they're gonna fill it.
yeah.
Yeah, you don't need that in there.
I'm not a big
not
fan of
horrible,
Spinball.
but yeah.
Yeah, not terrible. Okay, well, anyway, that's the Sega Genesis Classic, so to speak. But what are they calling it officially? The Sega Genesis Mini? I think?
Sega Mini.
Sega Mini, yeah.
Mini.
So that'll be coming out freaking in the fall. That'll be fun. $80.
$80.
Cool. We'll talk about the releases more we hear them.
Yep.
But anyway, moving on. So these segments go well together because one's an official little kind of plug and play Sega Genesis Classic, and this other one is this analog system.
Yeah.
All right, the Analogue Sg, right?
Yeah.
This is highly
Mega
anticipated.
SG.
Yeah, the Mega Sg. So this is the company that has basically made a premium console of.
It's going to run exactly like an original Sega Genesis on a high definition TV.
Yeah.
Because like with the console that we were just talking about before, it's emulating the games. These ones you could actually put in the physical cart,
Right.
and it's going to act like that, like it did back in the day.
Yeah, and so for those people wondering, like, well, what does that mean compared to like a clone console, the original console? They were never meant to be on a high def TV, and so when you give a high definition console, a 4K TV, this signal that is so old, it will try to make it better, but unfortunately, in trying to do that, it ends up making it worse, right?
Yep.
It's just kind of like having this wonderful professor that travels around giving these wonderful speeches, having to read a storybook to elementary kids. At the end of the day, that elementary school teacher is going to do a way better job, even though this other person's way more qualified, has way more pieces of paper behind glass on the TV. That's kind of what that's kind of what we're saying. What happens when you try to put this on a 4K TV?
Yeah.
So Analog has found a way to bypass this and make your classic games play perfectly on whatever screen, a high def, of course. And the results are like phenomenal.
It's amazing. So when I first fired this up, it felt like I was playing a Sega Genesis for the first time.
Cool.
Just because I go into it, looking at it, it's what you would want it to look like nowadays. So like when you go down in your basement or
You're talking
whatever,
the console?
Yeah, your old console, you look at it and you're like, oh, it's a little murky. It's not as bright. When you have this console, it really feels like a step up, and it's just gives you that feeling of the first time.
Yeah, so I guess kind of like when I played the Nintendo 64 controller and they had those new controllers where it actually plays like a classic one, and it's like, feels like you're playing this for a new time. It's like you took a car that was like a barn find and you reconditioned it or something like that. I'm trying to do enough analogies for Analog.
Yeah, it really got me fired up and just really passionate again for Sega. And I have a Super NT also, and which
is the Super Nintendo
the Super
version.
Nintendo version. It did the same thing too when I first got it, but it looks so amazing and it plays so well and it's just right. It fits the screen and you can adjust everything, and it's got a whole ton of options. And when Adam gets here, we'll talk a little bit more into more details. He's more of the good at that.
He'll talk more about those details. We were just trying to give the broad strokes.
Yeah.
This thing came out. You can buy it from Analog.
Yeah.
Probably be a waiting list. How much is it?
It's 189. 80 or 190. I can't remember.
It's 189. I'm assuming tax. So you're talking about $200. That's pretty pricey.
Yeah, it's a pricey. But what's cool is I just found out somebody hacked the thing. So basically, you could stick a SD card in the side, and you could load your like ROMs and stuff on there.
Yeah.
So it works almost like you have an EverDrive. So you could have like almost the complete library. You could put the whole library on there, and it's gonna play like you put the physical cart on there.
Yeah, and
that's completely amazing.
Saying hacking outside, like they're okay with that happening because they have the SD slot in the side, so they kind of made it open source. Of course, you got to still do your homework.
Yeah.
But yeah, you can have a system that plays all your old ROMs of whatever you have. It also came with a game, right?
Yeah, it also came with the game. It came with.
It's like an either way.
It's almost like Mega Turrican. I forgot. I don't know why I can't think of the name right now. Actually, I know why I can't think of the game, because when you first get it, it doesn't have it on there. You have to do the update on it. So this thing, you could do firmware updates and stuff. So when you do your first one, it loads the game on there.
Yeah, it's basically a side-scrolling like action shooter for third-person 2D game that was finished, but then not officially released, or finished at 97% or something. So it's the first time you can actually play it. So pretty neat thing to check out.
Yeah.
Again, Adam can get into the details, but the big things are if you really love Genesis and you have no way and you don't have an old tube TV, I'd say if you have an old tube TV and you have the old Genesis, or you've got a really good clone, like I've got my Super Trio. That I got from Castlemania Games, and that plays the NES, Super, and whatever, and it can do both. And it's not as fancy-wancy, but it makes me not at least right now thinking I'm going to spend the money on it.
But another awesome thing, before I forget, is it plays Sega CD also, so you could hook it up to the side of it.
Oh yeah,
that completely opens up that library.
Right.
I mean,
and that actually, now that I said everything I said, now that kind of changed my mind. I forgot like the one thing that makes me want to play that. I got a bunch of Sega CD games that I can't play.
Well, I know one kicker that really is Sega Master System. You could also play with an adapter on there, which they give you the adapter straight out the box not for free, but it's in there. But Sega Genesis or Sega Game Gear, they're making an adapter so you could play it on there.
I know. I kind of want to wait until there's a bundle together. So if I could play Game Gear games on my HDTV, plus throw in a Sega CD game, I mean, I think then I would get it. But I'd love if they'd do it as a bundle and keep it at the same price. Because then, I'm not saying it's not worth it, just for me and my own budget.
Yeah, and you got something, along the lines of it. So that's the hard thing. I could see where somebody wouldn't maybe get it then because of then. But if you completely didn't have something for your HD television, recommend it completely.
Yeah, so there's and then you got something like the Retron 5, which a lot of our listeners are interested in because it plays so many different things, including, the Game Boy Advance, which is a great system. Yep. So it's pretty swell. Unfortunately, Adam couldn't make this one, so we know he wants to talk about it a little bit. So, of course, we'll allot some time when he gets back. But it's a pretty cool release, to say the least. All right, moving on. Oh, my gosh. Shane?
Yes.
Oh, it's time for the handheld.
Got it.
Oh, boy.
Nailed it. That was great.
What is Adam going to have to do to edit that sucker? Oh, man.
Was amazing.
So our handheld holla is when us dads give a little love to our handheld brethren that we feel is mostly underlooked. There's so many great handheld consoles, systems, and games. This is you can pick popular ones, not popular ones. We just try to give them some shouts because a lot of times you can find these things real cheap, and this is kind of unterritoried waters for still some people out there. A lot of people love the top 10 SNES, top 10 da-da-da. But you play a lot of your handhelds on big TVs, blow them up, whatever. Yep. You got the GBA, which I still think Desert Island probably would be my system. Yep. With a GameCube player and play it on there. It's just so wonderful. But anyway, what do you got there, Shane, for your handheld holla pick this episode?
All right. I'm going to go with another... No, I'm kidding. I'm not going to go with another Switch game.
Holy cow. Yeah, who are you? You're not Shane. Take off the mask, Mission Impossible.
I'm going to go with the original Game Boy game, Krusty's Funhouse.
OG Game Boy, Krusty's Funhouse. I had a lot of Game Boy games. I never owned this one. Yeah. So tell me a little about it.
So it's pretty much like a Lemmings type of clone. Okay. So you get you're Krusty, going around the stage, going to doors. You have to lead these mice into this little death device, throw them in there. Okay. It's pretty fun. Krusty jumps super high. It's crazy how high his vertical's amazing.
So it's like a quasi puzzly.
Yeah. Puzzly, you got to figure out how to get them through pipes or over into things to go into the machine. So
interesting.
It's cool to see like the other characters in there. It's just not Krusty. It's like they got Bart in there next to the little machine that the mice are going into and everything. So it's a fun little game.
Cool
to play.
And inexpensive, pretty common.
Yeah, I imagine this game's only like $5-10.
Cool.
So
hey.
That's the.
So Krusty's Funhouse for the OG Game Boy. Yeah. All right. For my pick, I'm gonna pick Muppet Pinball Mayhem for the GBA.
This sounds awesome.
Yeah, and you hadn't heard of this one.
No,
huh? A lot of people haven't. Even GBA fans haven't, or you'll look it over. So Muppet Pinball Mayhem is, Jim Henson's Muppets. Mm-hmm. Those Muppets, right? It is a pinball game, but it's done really well. There's a few pinball games for the GBA, including, Pinball of the Dead, Mario Pinball, which would be wonderful if it didn't have that big crutch of like when you lose the ball, you kind of go back. It's
Yeah.
a lot of backtracking on that game. And then there's like a Pokemon one that's not very good.
Yeah.
There's one called Hardcore Pinball, which is really good. Another one that like people don't talk about, but we'll say that for another time. And that's also GBA. It made the cart. But Muppet Pinball Mayhem, really pretty uncommon.
Yeah.
Now, it doesn't go for a lot. Price Sharing says 10, but I call BS on that. I think it goes probably more for 20 because there's just not many of these things pop up. And Box goes for 30 or 50. But there's still one that if you find, you might find in the wild for cheap. I think there's not enough of them out there.
Does the playfield have like a bunch of the characters and stuff on there? How they do the playfields and stuff?
They've
That's
got
what I'm curious
three
about.
or four different tables. There's a Kermit table. There's a Miss Piggy table. There's a Gonzo table that's up in space. The sound effects are wonderful. The action, for considering this is a pinball game on the GBA, which is essentially the kind of a souped up Super Nintendo. It looks great and it plays wonderful.
Nice.
And the physics are great. I'm kind of take it or leave it with a Muppet guy. I like Muppet Babies for whatever reason as a kid.
Me too. They redid that here recently. Yeah, really? It's not terrible.
Really,
it's not great, but it's not terrible.
Okay, I would love to watch the old ones, but the Muppets I thought were fine, okay. But I did more Sesame Street than just random Muppet Show. Okay, with like current. But I get all the stuff, and the new movies are good. But I don't have this huge. But if you're a Muppet fan, you definitely need to play this one because it has music in there. It's an original Jim Henson joint. It's got all the licensing. Ubisoft made it. A lot of people don't know this. So this is quite the little hidden gem of a game. So if you like pinball, you like that, pick it up. It's relatively inexpensive, yet hard to find. So as soon as somebody prolific starts talking about it, it's going to be harder to find. It'll shoot up in price.
Well, we're not going to raise the price? Come on.
I don't think we are. Come on. We're small potatoes. We might actually, if there's only 2 sales, think about it, enough people. So, but anyway, check it out. You could probably find it at a con or whatever, but worth picking up. Hopefully you haven't heard of it. So Muppet Pinball Mayhem for the GBA.
Nice.
And Krusty's Funhouse for the OG Game Boy. Going all Game Boy-ness on that is our handheld holo picks this episode.
Mr. Benjamin, what have you been playing here these days?
Yeah, so talk a little bit about what we've been playing. I haven't played a lot.
Yeah.
Outside of our, it's been busy, new kind of changing jobs and all that, and the brain power that all takes, just kind of like getting new people, new systems, new whatever. So I haven't had much time, but I did get to play some games with actually Jake from, we'll play it now, the Mo Game Con.
Mo Game Con.
Yeah, Mo Game Con.
Woo.
We'll talk about that at the end again too, but one of the, he's my PlayStation friend. I saw he was playing Far Cry New Dawn.
Ooh.
And I've been playing a little bit of that, Far Cry New Dawn.
PS4?
PS4.
Nice.
Yeah, that's people call it an expansion of Far Cry 5. And I happen to like those games. If you've been listening, I just do. I didn't play Primal, but I really like 3. It was wonderful. I really like 4. It's just got enough of a sandboxy feel with like you can go do whatever you want. But what's neat about Far Cry New Dawn is they have really cool co-op missions.
Oh, really?
So like Jake and I can just get together on a game, wreak havoc, but we get to like, the idea is this is a post-apocalyptic world, but it's done in a very kind of Mad Max, like real bright, kind of fun style with a lot of neon. And the game is smaller than Far Cry 5, but I like that because it gets rid of a lot of the fluff, and so it feels more attainable, and you're kind of like going against, this posse of, and all your kind of stuff is kind of broken down, but you see a world that you already looked at kind of broken down, which is
that's cool.
Which is really neat. Like your first,
so you get a little familiar. You're familiar with it a little bit.
Like imagine you played like, I don't know. Tell me a game from like 16 or 32-bit era that you loved and you played left and right, back and forth, the back of your hand. I'll just throw out F-Zero because that's weird. Imagine if F-Zero was kind of redone, and you got to go back and like see like remnants of the game that you played before, and then you get to see it reutilized or something. Like, let's say if F-Zero was turned into an adventure game or a point-and-click game somehow. Like, that would be fun if you had nostalgia for it. So it's really kind of neat to see a modern game, like, quickly jumped ahead 50 years, like, what would happen. Because most of the time you go into a game world and you leave it, and then you're done.
Yeah.
And this is kind of cool. But anyway, what Jake and I can do is we'll talk on the headset and we will go do these missions where you have to like get gas, but it lets you actually, it's first for a Far Cry game, first time ever they did this. And it's kind of like a part of the game that not many people, it doesn't get much notoriety, right? But it's like a big change if you play these games that make it really fun, where you do these missions where you're taken off the map completely and you go on this mini map and you basically have an objective to like find their suitcase and fuel. You have to kind of infiltrate a bunker, grab this thing and leave and wait for a helicopter and shoot guys until you can leave with the helicopter. Then you go back to your world. So it's like a mission outside of the sandbox.
Really cool.
And Far Cry never does that, but they have it played so perfectly that you're on this like one of them is a big ship that's on that you start out on a big hillside cliff by a lighthouse, so you have to make your way there, and you can go down, swim, you can like glide over, you can fly, and you want to not be seen, and then you got to kind of climb up and go through it. Another one's on a bridge, and you can do this over and over and get more. They can make it harder, so they can have more enemies and make them have bigger guns and more powerful guns, but they'll come in on, like if you're trying to leave, they'll kind of come in on jet skis and all this other stuff. And it's great because it's a pocket-sized like bite of a really cool like multiplayer thing.
That's
which
awesome,
is perfect for like dads, because if you're playing like big drawn out missions and matchmaking and this and that, like, because I'm not a big first person shooter like multiplayer fan, but this is just you and a guy going against like a kind of a Rambo scene, a scene in Rambo, and then you die, you start over, or you get through it and you can put on a harder difficulty and go through. So
not too deep.
I played maybe 6 hours of that and played probably 2-3 hours with Jake, and that was a lot of fun. I'd love to do it again. It's just few and far between. If I might not ever play that game again, multiplayer, unfortunately, and that's the servers go up. That's the thing. There'll be a PlayStation 5 Classic. That's about all I played. What about you, Shane?
It's funny. So I've been putting that Mega SG to use. Me and Lexi. It's crazy. My daughter loves this thing. So for 4 days straight, we have been playing Streets of Rage 2.
Nice.
Yeah, she's like, I want to play that beat 'em game. The beat 'em game. She called them beat 'em game.
Yeah,
her favorite person's Skate. So she always has to play Skate, and so she'll run and get her hat and put it on backwards like Skate does, and she loves
Somebody's
it.
got to play Skate. I'm glad.
I know.
I hated Skate
so bad. Yeah,
I was a Max guy.
Max,
you Axel.
Yeah, Axel. Yeah,
yeah. My buddy was Axel. I love Max. I got good at him.
I like Axel, man. That's my go-to. So we've been playing that. So I mean, not too deep. Don't need to go in detail. Everybody knows that dang game. It's great. Yep. Played the third one. So we beat the second one. Moved on to the third one. Beat it. Played the first one. Haven't beat it yet. But she already knows like the differences between the three, which is really cool. She's like, do I hit the A button and the car's going to pull up and shoot these rockets down on people? I'm like, no, that's the first one. She's like, that's the first one? It's like, it's so great, man. We've also played, me and Deacon played ARMS. We've been playing a little bit of ARMS.
What's ARMS?
On the Nintendo Switch.
Oh, yeah.
So it's actually not that bad, man.
Lexi used to call it Hiya. Right?
Yeah, Hiya. Yeah. So
Gotcha.
Deacon's really been into it here recently, so we've been playing it. It's a fun little game, you know, fighting game. It's a little different using the motion controllers, but it works. I mean, it's not the greatest game, but it works and it's fun.
Yep.
So
not for me, but I've seen it and it seems cool.
Yeah, not bad. One more game we've been playing. What was it that we played the other night? Oh, Turtles. We also beat that.
Which one?
Hyperstone Heist.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. So me and Lexi beat that also.
Nice.
Yeah, we've been putting in work, man. Not going to say we didn't put it on cheat codes or pumped up the lives or did something, but she's pretty good, though.
You know what I forgot I have? I have a big 196 and 1 cart for the Genesis. I want to, like, my first thing is, like, bring your NG over, but I should probably give that to you before you leave today. You just check out and see if it works.
See if it works, yeah.
I bet it'll work.
I bet it will. From everything I've seen and that everybody's throwing at it, it works for the most part.
I kind of forgot that I had that sucker. Yeah,
nice.
I know. I got it cheap off eBay just one night randomly. Yeah,
Let me get that multi-cards.
I know.
Click.
Yeah,
that's all we've been playing.
That's about it.
Yeah, that's about it. No new stuff really, except for the ARMS. So
cool.
Quick hitters.
Yep, that's all you can do. All right. So we were going to mention, of course, Mo GameCon. We weren't able to make the Midwest Gaming Classic. That's going to be next week. Unfortunately, I was all set to go, and then something kind of hindered that. I was even going to go for fun. But gosh, if anybody's going there, hopefully we can go next year.
Lucky.
Yeah, I know. But we are going to do the Mo Game Con, which is August 3rd, 2019 in the St. Louis area. We'll plug that sucker because I have been to all of them, and you've been to everyone except the first one.
Yep.
This would be the fourth one, so this would be Mo Game Con 4.
Yeah.
It's going to be in the St. Charles Community College, right? Same arena, same little place, which is good. First time they've had it. I thought it went great last time.
I liked it a lot.
They have already released some of the people that they're bringing. We'll save that for another time, but they're bringing in some really cool, interesting people like they did last time. So that'll be fun. Some old industry favorites, which is really cool. Well, how about this? He's on fire downtown. That's all I'll say. But I'm telling you, I'm excited and I want those games autographed. He gets it, brick. Boom shakalaka.
Boom shakalaka.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, man. I need to get back to NBA Jam. I haven't played that in years.
Oh, it's great. It
I
still
know.
plays great, man.
Oh, yeah.
Hook that sucker up. So anyway, Mo Game Con, check it out. We will be there. We're going to have a lot of booths. We're going to be selling so much stuff.
Yep, selling.
Yeah,
hopefully a little bit of trading, selling, meetings of fans.
We've got a lot, and we'll also this time set it up for anyway. When you guys come by, we're going to try to do some sort of thing where we say, hey, that night we're all going to go out and do a little meet and greet because sometimes it's really hard to give people the time of day if we're trying to sell stuff. It just makes it a little too tricky, and we don't want to make it seem like we're like, hey, you can't do this. But like when I'm trying to think, well, this one's that way we can hopefully if you're there, we can meet up afterward.
Yeah,
and chillax, have a beer, play some games. But that is TBD, to be determined. So just Shane and I, it is getting super late.
Yeah.
We've got a lot of early stuff to do. So sorry, this episode's a little shorter than usual, but hey, we get a star up on our board. We're keeping consistent. Please do. Yeah.
Just give me a quarter of a star and give Ben a big star.
No.
Yes.
But anyway, we try to keep cranking out the content, even though sometimes life makes it a little more difficult. So sorry, it's not as long as usual.
Yeah.
But we really hope you enjoyed listening. Send us an email, iTunes review if you can, whatever.
Send us a message on Facebook if you want to shoot this stuff.
Yeah, Facebook. Follow us on Facebook. Like our stuff. Whatever you want to do. But if anything, hug your kids a little bit tighter. Do your Konami code a little bit quicker. And enjoy yourselves. And we'll be looking forward to the next time you listen to us. And we'll be looking forward to the next time we record for you guys. Episode 42.
42 is in the books.
See you later.
Later.